Storms continue to move through parts of the southern portions of our state, and we're on your side tracking weather currently and getting you ready for tomorrow's First Alert Weather Day from another stormy setup.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
All right, thank you for joining me. We're taking a look right now of Tuscaloosa from last night. Look at all of that lightning that was sent in by Valerie Hughes. Just those intense storms moving through the area, and of course heavy rain continuing across parts of central Alabama tonight. And of course lightning is a scene that we've been seeing a lot over the past week, or really all month long. It's been super wet, and of course we're still tracking more storms this evening, and especially in the southern portions of the state. We'll show you what's going on right now. I do want to let you know about that severe thunderstorm watch. It's now canceled for parts of Sumter, Greene, and Hale counties, but for Perry and Bibb and Chilton and Coosa, we're still included in that severe thunderstorm watch up until 10 o'clock. I do believe that this watch will likely get canceled before then, but until then, we're still watching for a low chance to see some strong and severe storms. Here's what we're dealing with the overall setup. Been watching a line of intense storms in Mississippi, and the southern portion of that system has really robbed the severe potential and the moisture to the north. So now what we're dealing with, instead of seeing a line of storms sweeping through, we're just dealing with some light rain making its way through Pickens and Tuscaloosa and Fayette counties. And yeah, we can't rule out an isolated storm or two, but overall, most of us are going to be okay going into the evening hours. Just note that if you're outside, hear rumbles of thunder, go indoors, okay? When thunder roars, go indoors. All the active weather mainly to the south. We got severe thunderstorm warnings that are getting closer to Montgomery. So if you have plans traveling southbound on I-65, you may want to wait as we're watching this bow segment that usually indicates some strong winds up to 60 miles per hour. Elsewhere towards Perry and Bibb and the Chilton counties, we're looking pretty good. I don't anticipate much in the way of severe weather. You're just getting some gusty winds, pockets of heavy rainfall moving through Centerville as we speak, and a first alert for Jemison and Clanton. You're going to be getting some rain as well. So that timeline, as these pockets of heavier rain continue to push off towards the north and east, we're looking around Stanton at 6:48, Maplesville right around 6:55, and Highland right around 7:09. Once again, these are going to be impacting parts of Bibb and Chilton counties. Like I said, areas to the north, we're looking pretty good. Just some soaking rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder. Seeing a little heavier shower there along Interstate 20 in southwestern Tuscaloosa County, moving up towards the east-northeast. Just some steady rainfall, though, in Tuscaloosa and in Pickens County, and some rain as well in parts of Fayette moving into Walker County, right along Interstate 22 near the Carbon Hill area, seeing some rain. And we're noticing some spotty showers developing in northeast Mississippi, and they will be making its way into northwest Alabama over the next hour or so. So I'll just say the next big thing, we'll just watch this rain move from west to east, and I do believe by 10 o'clock or so, most of this activity is out of here. So for the most part, I think we're looking pretty good across central Alabama. As we go into the overnight hours, we're looking at cloudy conditions, and we'll go into tomorrow, starting out the day mostly dry, but that could change as we go into the afternoon hours. In fact, we do have a first alert weather day declared for tomorrow. Here's the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Yes, we could see a couple of strong storms, slight risk south of I-20. If you're watching Megan and Mickey, it was just a marginal risk, but this afternoon they upgraded it to a slight. And I'm thinking around noon to 8 p.m. Of course, the timing could still change as these systems develop out west and make their way to the east, but it could be pretty active around here tomorrow afternoon and evening. Not only do we have to worry about storms and the threat for strong weather, but perhaps a chance to see some isolated flooding in a couple of spots. So we'll be watching that very closely as we go into the next several days. And make sure, by the way, to download or have multiple ways to hear those warnings if they're issued. Scan the code on your screen to download the First Alert weather app. You'll be able to get those updates for your exact location as the system rolls through the state tonight. And let's talk about some rainfall totals over the past several days. Our weather watchers sending in those reports. Ronald Hughes picking up over 2 inches of rain from yesterday out of Coker and out of Pinson. Almost 2 inches of rain there. Over 1.5 inches in Talladega from Joseph Williamson. And our weather watcher Rick Freeman and Tony picking up almost 1.5 inches of rain there in West Blockton and Piedmont. And out of Alabaster, John King reporting about 1 inch of rainfall. So where does that stand for now. Birmingham's recorded over 9 inches, Tuscaloosa over almost 13 inches of rain, and Anniston over 8¼ inches of rain. So for Tuscaloosa is your wettest May on record. We've easily destroyed the old record set back in 1976 of 11 inches. We could see more of that over the next couple of days. Birmingham, where do you stand? You are the 7th wettest May on record. So we're about to enter the top 5, especially if we get a lot of rainfall tomorrow. In Anniston with over 8 inches of rain, where do you stand? You're 6th, so you're about to break the top 5 as well if you get more showers and storms going into tomorrow. So pretty impressive totals for the month of May. Check out these other scenes of lightning across the state last night. This was submitted by you all through the First Alert weather app. Everett Doss sending this video of lightning in the Northport area. And then we've got this one here, Travis Braden, lightning in a shelf cloud in around Columbiana. So that's an impressive shot right there. And Austin sending this more video there of lightning there in parts of Pickens County. Pretty impressive. And definitely going to wake you up as well if you're hearing all those thunders. We weren't the only ones that saw severe weather over the Memorial Day weekend, and as this marks the unofficial beginning to summer, it's also the beginning of the summer travel season, which is expected to be record-breaking. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton has more.
Heavy thunderstorms sweeping across the South and Midwest this holiday weekend, threatening to impact travel plans for millions of Americans. By Sunday afternoon, more than 1,500 flights were delayed across the country, according to FlightAware. Dozens of those were at New Jersey's Newark Liberty International Airport, where federal officials are reducing the number of flights due to runway construction and recent system outages.
I read that it was going to be extremely crowded, it's going to be busy, so I arrived here a couple of, 2 hours earlier. AAA
expects this Memorial Day to set records, with 45 million people hitting the rails, roads, and skies. TSA says Friday was its 3rd busiest day ever. More than 3 million people passed through checkpoints.
The security line was out the front door. This is for the general security. It was not TSA or CLEAR or anything like that.
But most of the traffic is on the roads. Nearly 90% of travelers are driving this Memorial Day, according to AAA. One silver lining, gas prices are down about 40 cents from a year ago.
Any gas station that's right off the interstate is going to be the most expensive. Why? Because it's the most convenient. If you drive even just a little bit farther down, if you have enough gas in the tank to do that, you'll save some on gas.
And this also comes as storms across Missouri over the weekend prompted several water rescues. The storm also washing out some roads and knocking out power to thousands of people. It also uprooted trees and brought down power lines. Repair crews are still working to restore power to everyone. All right, well, in 30 seconds, we continue to track those storms as they move across central Alabama, and we're going to talk about how California is preparing for wildfire season as we head into the summer months. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra. All right, still tracking the showers and storms across the area. I think for the most part, most of us are just going to be dealing with some rain, light to steady moderate rainfall, and maybe some lightning and some gusty winds. But the severe weather looks extremely low for most of our area. It's mainly going to be from Montgomery and points to the south. We are dealing with some showers once again, moving through parts of Fayette, making their way into Walker County, and a first alert for some light rain moving into western Jefferson County. So by, I would say about 7:30ish or so, maybe 7:30 to 8, we'll see some steady light rainfall in around Birmingham to Hoover, down towards the Alabaster area. We'll note we've tracking this one strong storm just northeast of Centerville. It is moving off towards the north and east. So if you're in the Montevallo area right shortly before 7, you might see some heavy rainfall, maybe some small hail and some lightning, as the storm's producing about 100 lightning strikes within the past 15 minutes or so. So we're going to be watching that very carefully. And once again, more heavy rain moving into parts of Chilton County. And we've got the severe thunderstorm warning that's including parts of Watauga County, moving closer towards Montgomery, where it could be producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So once again, for the most part for us this evening, some rain with some lightning and thunder, but most of the severe weather should be in the southern portion of the state, but that could change going into tomorrow. Well, taking you across the country now to places out to the west, whereas we headed into those summer months, and they could likely face some longer wildfire seasons. Seconds can make a difference when fighting those flames. Fox News' Sue Guzman takes a closer look at the invention, hoping to bridge the resource gaps.
With Memorial Day marking the unofficial start of summer, much of the country is bracing for hotter weather and with it, drier conditions that can increase wildfire risks. The threat's especially high out west, where crews across California tackle flames from both the ground and the air. But while helicopters can make an impact, many in drought-prone areas need to fly far to refill from lakes or ponds. This can eat away at precious time where flames can spread.
When we brought helicopters into the wildland-urban interface to fight fire, we didn't think initially of making permanent hydrants for helicopters.
The heli hydrant hopes to help. It's an open tank designed for choppers to refill closer to the origin of a fire. A heli hydrant tank is gravity fed by a local drinking water system.
We test it constantly to make sure that the water is being directed into the tank only.
Helicopter pilots can signal to the tank on their way over to refill. Choppers can fill up in less than a minute.
He sends a signal similar to Morse code. They turn on, provide water, and the pilot has an unending available source of water.
Back in November, firefighters in San Diego put a heli hydrant to the test, with crews tapping the tank roughly 40 times to combat the garden fire. At least 10 heli hydrants are up and running across Southern California. Work to install more than a dozen others presses on.
We're going to change the way firefighting's done in California and hopefully around the country.
Sue Guzman, Fox News.
And check this out. This is in Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupting over the 23rd time over the weekend. This was the same Sunday afternoon. Lava fountains reach as high as 230,000 feet out of the volcano's south vent and rose as high as 1,000 feet from the north vent. So I think that was 3,000, by the way, not 30,000. The Hawaiian Volcano Observatory says it will continue to closely monitor the volcano's activity. And taking you beyond the atmosphere to a fight amongst the stars. For the first time ever, astronomers caught the process of two galaxies merging into one large galaxy 11 billion light years away. They're calling it a cosmic joust. It was found by combined observations of telescopes over 4 years. And though researchers think they may have already merged by now, they say there is no way to know for sure. And get this, researchers also saying they discovered a new planet at the edge of our solar system. They're naming it 2017 of 201, and they say it's large enough to rival the size of Pluto. It's also one of the most distant visible objects in the solar system. Scientists previously thought the space was empty beyond Neptune, but this discovery shows that's not the case at all, and I still consider Pluto, part of the solar system, even though it's not. Anyways, don't go anywhere. Though the rain is sticking around for a few more days, those sunny and warm days will return, and we're on your side telling you how you can be safe at the pool and talking more about tomorrow's First Alert Weather Day. We'll be right back. right, we're taking a look at that severe thunderstorm watch up until 10 o'clock. Still continues for Perry into Bibb and in Chilton and Coosa counties. They've extended it farther south and east, including Tallapoosa County, once again till 10 o'clock. And we're tracking more storms. In fact, I want to give you that first alert that we now have a new warning out for parts of Bibb and Shelby County. So we'll zoom down towards the south and you can see the active weather. We've got some intense storms, a severe thunderstorm warning, including downtown Montgomery, where they could see intense winds there. But we're tracking this one storm. I was just showing it to you not too long ago, mentioning it could produce some small hail, but now it looks like it's strong enough that they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of eastern Bibb into Shelby County. So we're talking about from Calera to Alabaster, Columbiana included in this warning. This is up until about 7:30 for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour and perhaps some quarter-sized hail. So that's what we're going to be watching. I'm going to click on this arrow right here to give you a little bit of a timeline of areas that could be impacted. So Briarfield right around 6:56, Almont at 7:06, Montevallo a first alert for you at 7:06, and Dry Valley at 7:09. And taking a close look at the wind shear, there is a little bit of some wind aloft, so that could respond to maybe some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So when you get those kind of winds, that can knock some trees and power lines down. So take shelter in the Montevallo area. First alert for you for some strong, intense storms. The rest of us, though, just dealing with the good soaking rain in Pickens, Greene, Hale counties, and Tuscaloosa. A little bit of lightning showing up there, but nothing severe, and more rain to the north as you go into Fayette and Walker and Winston counties. And once again, this is moving off towards the east. So yes, we'll see some showers this evening, but from the majority of us, especially if you live north of I-20, the severe threat looks pretty low. So we'll be watching areas to the south, including Shelby County with that storm. And then as we go towards 9-10 p.m., I think most of this activity should be out of here, and we'll be left with some clouds, temperatures in the upper 60s, and maybe some fog trying to develop in just a few spots. Now tomorrow, heading out the door, highly recommend grabbing the rain gear. You'll need it. A good chance we're going to see some storms with highs in the lower 80s. It's going to stay pretty cloudy, and we do have a threat for severe weather, which we have declared tomorrow a first alert weather day from noon to about 8 for some stormy weather. And you can see the intense storms. They'll start developing around lunchtime and move towards the east, and they could be intense with some very heavy rainfall. Flooding can't be ruled out tomorrow afternoon and evening as well. So this is what we're going to have to be dealing with tomorrow. Of course, tune in tomorrow morning. Good Day Alabama. Megan and Mickey will have the latest details about the stormy weather that we could experience here going into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. And I wish I had some good news. Unfortunately, this wet pattern is sticking around Wednesday, Thursday. I do believe tomorrow's our best chance for rain across the area. It's going to be scattered in nature Wednesday and Thursday. It's not going to be a washout by any means. We'll stay mostly cloudy with low 80s for highs. And then by Friday, starting to lower those rain chances a bit. It starts to move to the south, and that may give us some sunshine as we go into the weekend. I think by Saturday, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 70s and dry, and just a stray shower possible Sunday, Monday. Still can't completely keep us dry, but I'll take 20% over 80% any day of the week, especially after this wet pattern we've been dealing with. And though it's raining throughout the week, as we start to see the long stretch of hot summer days, more people will be headed to the pool. And while it's a fun way to cool down, it can also pose a drowning risk for children. Fox's Irene Snyder has more.
The unofficial start of summer is here, and the hotter it gets in the valley, the more people flock to their pools, leading to an uptick in drowning calls.
Drowning is a year-round prevention for us, but it's really heightened on these holiday weekends.
Captain Rob McDade with the Phoenix Fire Department says drownings can happen just like that, more quickly than many parents realize.
Even if you think people are around the pool, it's your responsibility. We've had many drownings of children in pools where there's been in excess of 6 to 8 adults right there around the pool. They think somebody else is watching the children in the pool. And when we think about your pool and the safety of your children, and people say, well, I have a fence around my pool, that's the last line of defense, right? So that fence means that everything else failed getting to that point.
The department recommends dressing your kids in brightly colored clothing that'll stand out in the water, getting your kids swim lessons, and also designating a water watcher.
Set the timer. You're the water watcher for 20 minutes, right? Set the timer. Now it's somebody else's turn. Come up with something that where everybody understands when they're coming over to your house or you're coming to somebody else's house. The number one important thing is to watch the children around water.
Last year, Phoenix Fire reported a total of 48 drowning deaths, most of those occurring during the summer months. As of April this year, there were already 12 drowning deaths, and it can happen to anyone.
If you don't think it can happen to you. Think again, because we've had many tragic stories in our community of people that obviously appear to be loving parents, caring parents, and then tragedy could strike them. So drowning does not care about socioeconomic. It doesn't care about your background. It doesn't care how much you love your children. It could strike anybody, and that's what really concerns us, is nobody is immune to it.
Irene Snyder, Fox 10 News.
All right, looking at beyond the 7-day as we go into the first weeks of June, the odds for the eastern half of the country, looking at a chance to see temperatures start to climb above average. So if our average high is about the mid-80s, we could be in the upper 80s. So we'll just wait and see how that evolves. And then looking at the rain chances, near neutral to slightly above average in parts of the southeast. So, I mean, it's been so wet lately. Why will it change all of a sudden, right? I do want to mention real quick, let's go right back to that severe thunderstorm warning for Shelby County. We are looking at a cell with some intense lightning. We're looking at about 120 lightning strikes within the past 15 minutes. In Montevallo, you're going to be getting hit pretty hard right now with some lightning and very heavy rain and maybe some quarter-sized hail. And the wind threat with this severe thunderstorm warning, they issue these warnings with winds up to 58 miles per hour. So we could see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Montevallo. Calera, you're in line with this storm as it's pushing up to the north and east, and also Alabaster, you're included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Once again, this is up until 7:30 this evening for some heavy rainfall, some strong winds, and maybe some large hail. I will say, just looking at the velocity, no signs of any tornado with this. This is definitely your classic severe storm that could produce some wind gusts that could knock some trees down and produce some power outages. So this storm's just about to move out of Bibb, and you'll be all clear, and this is mainly going to be a Shelby County issue for the next 45 minutes. So we're going to be watching this storm very closely as it's pushing off towards the east-northeast around 30 to 40 miles per hour. And the rest of the area, by the way, looking at across central Alabama, we're just dealing with some good soaking rain. So for most part, the severe risk for us this evening, very low and isolated. We'll be right back with your final check on weather, and we'll take a look at your weather photos right after the break. All right, welcome back to Weather Extra, and we'll show your photos tomorrow, hopefully, if we have an opportunity, but we'll have more storms to track. Still want to talk about this severe thunderstorm warning for Shelby County. We're looking at some pretty heavy rain moving in southwest Shelby County. Give you some timelines. Montevallo, you're getting hit as we speak. The main core is going to be moving in around 7:04, Underwood at 7:08, and likely going to be impacting right along I-65. So if you are planning on traveling, if you're in Birmingham traveling southbound to Shelby County, you might want to wait and let these storms push on through. The rest of us, some rain with a little bit of lightning, but the severe threat this evening fairly low. We do have a first alert weather day for tomorrow. Make sure you tune in tonight at 9 o'clock. I'll have the latest details about that. Until then, have a safe Memorial Day.